Welcome into the Vegas Squares podcast, where we discuss all things sports and sports betting. Presented by 12 Ounce Sports Radio. All right, and welcome into the next edition of the Vegas Squares podcast, our Picks and Chatter edition. This is episode number 4 in that sentiment. And looking here at the college games, I got Token Tony in the studio. And Token, how'd it go last week for you?
Went all right with the college slate. I did about even, but had a few money line bets that were pluses, so came out slightly ahead.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, we're gonna have Spike coming in a little bit later into the studio to talk to talk pro football because we know he doesn't do the college. So while he's en route, we will go ahead and preview this weekend's college matchups on the docket. It's pretty much, not completely, but we're pretty much in the bigger conferences getting into conference play at this point. We've got a lot of good matchups, a lot of interesting matchups that could set the tone for this season and can really make or break some of these teams who may not have gotten off to the hottest starts. They could really be put right behind the 8 ball and completely, I wouldn't say completely shatter their season, but, you know, a team like last week, like Wisconsin, who lost to BYU as a 22-point favorite, is not completely out of it, but a decimating loss to Iowa, I think, would probably end Wisconsin's chances.
Yeah, not only the chances of a playoff talk as maybe even Big Ten champs at that point, almost.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're talking about a team, you're talking about a division, the West of the Big Ten, that's not very good, but setting yourself back behind, the Iowas in that spot, you can really hurt Wisconsin. I would imagine with one loss, they could probably still potentially make the Big Ten championship, but they would need 2 losses out of Iowa. And, that's tough to do. Iowa's a team that can, especially in the early season, especially at home, they can slay some giants.
Yes, that's absolutely right. This week might be a sediment of what to come for the rest of the season.
A sediment? Like a rock?
Yes.
Not an igneous?
No.
All right, well, let's dive into some of the games, and let's get going here. Let's start with the SEC. I mean, they're the conference everyone talks about, the big game. You talked about it. You look on some of these websites, the money that is pouring in on the side of UGA at this point right now. UGA is opening up, or they're currently a 14-point favorite on the road at Missouri.
Yeah, and interesting how much money is going on UGA compared to Missouri. I heard one book in particular is taking 5 figures of bets on UGA and only $43 on Missouri.
$43?
Yes.
Is this the spread or is this just total action?
Total action.
Wow. I feel like just theoretically you just sprinkle it on Missouri.
Yeah.
Just for the shit of it.
Yeah, just because.
I mean, 2 touchdowns a lot in the SEC, and Missouri's got the ability to score points. I'm not calling for a win here, but they have the ability
at home as well. I mean,
yeah, at home, the ability to score points. The Bulldogs are firing on all cylinders ever since last year. I mean, they're 4-0 last 4 after scoring 40 the previous game, which happened. 4-0 last 4 conference games. 6-0 following their 6-0 against the spread. Last 6 games following a straight up win. 5-0 against the spread against teams with a winning record last 5. I mean, everything is in their favor. 13-3 against the spread last 16 after getting 200 yards rushing in the previous game. I mean, all the trends point towards the Bulldogs at this point.
Yes.
But it seems like a spot where, I'm not calling for a Bulldog loss, but I'm calling for what's the total in this game right now?
Total I am seeing is,
I think it's like 68. I want to say that's what it was. $64.
64.5, yeah.
64. It took a little longer. The internet's acting up.
Yeah, some spots it's 14, some spots it's 14.5, depending where you look and all that.
64. I mean, I gotta think the over. I think these teams can definitely put up some points.
Yes, Georgia by themselves could probably put up 40 to almost 50, and Missouri could probably put up easily 20 plus. So,
yeah, I mean, things going things going for, in Missouri's way. They have, like I said, they have the ability to put up points. Their defense isn't great. The over could definitely be a situation where it's in play. Tigers are 5-1 ATS the last 6 home games, also 5-1 their last 6 conference games against the spread. So, as far as the trends directing towards Georgia's way, there are more trends. However, Missouri is definitely at home. I wouldn't say they're a slouch at this point.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about this. This isn't one that I would particularly think about betting as right now, but this could easily change for me just because how much public money is coming in on Georgia, if not sharp action. So,
well, I will tell you this. We're going with the first game on the podcast. First game I'm taking off the strap. I'm taking the 14 points. I like the home dog in this. I feel sense a trend for the rest of this Picks and Chatter podcast. I think that I like the over as well. I probably won't bet the over, but I'll take the 14 points in this spot. UGA is a very public sexy, as evidenced by what you just said. The amount of money going in on Georgia leads me to believe that I feel confident probably just grabbing 14 points in a conference game at home.
Yeah.
So I think I'll take Missouri in this one. That'll be my first game that I bet. Yeah, 80% of the money going towards Georgia as far as covers is concerned at this point.
Yeah.
The over also, 70% of the money is going towards the over. So again, I probably wouldn't touch that since I like the over. So it's definitely there's consensus here. It's almost 80% going towards Georgia at this point. So
yeah, that's crazy.
The public gets it right sometimes, so you can't hate on that. So let's look at the next game on the docket here as far as top 25 teams in action. Notre Dame 3-0. Heading to Wake Forest. At this point, the line is Notre Dame favored by 7. Your thoughts?
Go with this trend. Take the home dog.
Well, I can't take the home dog on everything, but
no, I
don't dislike Wake Forest and their ability to keep it close with this team. Notre Dame's a really lucky team right now.
They are. I would lean towards taking Wake. I actually like the under in this game, how it sits currently. It opened at 55.5. Now it's up to 60.5 is what I see. I would lean towards taking the under.
Yeah, I think that's a product of Wake Forest's big game with Boston College last weekend, and everybody just assumes Notre Dame has the ability to put up points. And Notre Dame's got a tough defense. They have the ability to stop this team in Wake Forest. Also, Wake Forest is playing a little bit of a quarterback roulette so far. They'll start a new quarterback, Kendall Hinton. He returns from a 3-game suspension for violation of team rules. The Irish, they're a work in progress on offense, and I don't know if I know it's enough to beat Wake Forest. I think it's enough to cover Wake Forest. The under, I don't think it's enough to score for both of these teams. I'm not betting this game, but let's look at some of the trends. Nothing really favors the Irish. 1-4 last 5 following an ATS loss. 1-4 against the spread. 2-8 against the spread last 10 after allowing less than 100 yards rushing in their previous game. 1-6 ATS versus a team with a winning record. That's not good numbers as far as trends go. 0-5 ATS following a straight-up win. Those are ice-cold trends in my mind. The Deeks 6-1 ATS against after allowing more than 200 yards in their previous game. 4-1 last 5 versus a team with a winning road record, which we have in Notre Dame here. But at the same time, they're 1-4 ATS last 5 non-conference. 1-4 ATS last 5 after allowing 450 yards plus total in their previous games. 0-3-1 last 4 September games. 0-5-1 last 6 games overall against the spread. So nothing really favors either trend here at that spot. I'm not going to touch the game. You like the home dog trend. I know that there'll be a trend here for this preview for the podcast. But I think Notre Dame gets it done by 10, 31, 31-21 in that spot. So I'll take Notre Dame. I'm not going to bet it, but I think Notre Dame can cover that one. Here's the one I know that you've been talking about all weekend, and that's Scott Frost. They are 0-2 to start the season for the first time, I believe, since TV went to a color picture. So they are in the Big House, 19 Michigan, 2-1, games at noon Eastern. The line, you said, when we talked about it, the line was pretty high.
Yes, it still currently is sitting at right around 18, so 17.5 right now is what I see as the current line.
17.5. Scott Frost there. I bet you this is not what Nebraska fans had in mind. 0-2 going into Michigan as an 18-point dog. Do they even stand a chance?
To win the game, not really. To cover, I like them to cover.
Yeah, I mean, it all matters with Nebraska quarterback Adrian Martinez. He's not healthy. So if he plays, if he's healthy, right, I think the Wolverines will win, but I think the Huskers can cover. The thing, it's just, I don't know. Shea Patterson's been kind of up and down. He's trending up right now. If Martinez doesn't play, which you have to keep an eye on that, especially here when we're broadcasting, at this point when this is when this is aired, you're going to be basically following the status of Adrian Martinez at this point. If he does not play, I think you've got to either stay off this or pound Michigan at that point. I just don't think Nebraska has a chance without at least the inkling of the quarterback who has a chance for Nebraska to beat or stay competitive with Michigan.
Yes, it definitely depends on that, without a doubt. I mean, if he doesn't even play out, I still wouldn't even take Michigan, I don't think. I would not take either side, but I'd still stay away from Michigan.
Yeah, I think if Adrian Martinez doesn't play, you can pretty much throw trends out the window. However, Cornhuskers are 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 road games. Obviously, this is a different regime. This is the Scott Frost era. Following an ATS loss, Michigan is 4-1-1 in their last 6 games. They are 2-8 against the spread, again, their last 10 games, following a straight-up win of 20 points or more. So it's tough. It's kind of a game where I wouldn't touch it. I have no real interest in betting this. I am interested in watching it just because of Scott Frost's history with UCF, obviously. It's just not a game that I would really be interested in touching. It's a really big number, 3 possessions, a backdoor cover, anything with Nebraska there at that point. I think if Martinez plays and he's actually healthy, I would lean Nebraska. So just for the sake of a pick, with a caveat, with a contingency, if Martinez plays, I'll take Nebraska. If he doesn't play, I'll take Michigan. I know that's the hashtag. It could go either way, but yeah, he's a big factor in this game.
Yeah, absolutely, he's a big factor. Give me the Cornhuskers no matter what.
The who?
Cornhuskers.
The Cornhuskers?
Cornhuskers.
Bunch of fucking Haskers.
Yeah, giving them either way to me. I think they cover, but not game that I'm particularly going to bet right now, but that could easily change come Saturday morning.
Yeah, absolutely. A game I know you like, and I'm interested in this for ACC implications because I can tell you what, I didn't see this team on my radar this year, and that's Boston College traveling to Purdue. BC number 23 at 3-0. Purdue is 0-3. He's played some heartbreaking contests by a combined 8 points. I think they've lost their 3 games. So
sounds about right. Yeah.
This contest and this line is currently at Boston College favored by 7. Initial thoughts basically is that Purdue's defense is not very good, and Boston College's quarterback Anthony Brown is exceptional.
Yeah. This would be one that I'd probably almost take the over as well in this matchup. I think Purdue could keep it close, maybe fight back a little on offense.
That's a lot of points, 65.
It's a lot of points, but I mean, Boston College can easily do a quick drive here, a quick drive there, and Purdue could.
Well, that you're saying that's all of college football.
Yeah.
Boston College 5-0 against the spread last 5 versus a team with a losing record, which we obviously have in a team that hasn't won yet. 4-0 against the spread after allowing 200 or more yards in their last game, which Wake Forest had no problem getting up and down the field against this defense, which Boston College, the last few years has really more been known for their defense than their offense. It's a shame that if Anthony Brown could have came along and developed a little earlier and combined with the fact they had a good defense the last 2-3 years, they could have been a dangerous team in the ACC.
Yeah, they could have been one of those top-tier teams almost.
Boilermakers 6-1 against the spread last 7 non-conference games. 6-1 against the spread last 7 after allowing more than 300 yards passing in their previous game. Also 8-2 against the spread last 10 after accumulating more than 450 total yards in their previous game. So Purdue's not shy on offense. I mean, the over is definitely an interesting play because you're right. Both these teams can score. That's a lot of points to put up 65. And I said that last week against BC when they played Wake Forest, and they had no problem putting up close to 80. So, yeah, the total would, I would say, if I played a total, it would be the over in that spot. The 7-point spread, though, your thought?
Yeah, this one I'm not going to take the total. I'm going to actually take the home dog.
Dog. Purdue's?
Go with the Boilermakers +7.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, in games where you can have high-scoring contests, high-scoring outputs like that, it leaves the ability for the dog to keep it close.
Yeah, if not a backdoor cover somehow.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the ability, both these teams' defenses are definitely susceptible to giving up very big chunks of yards and very big chunks of points.
Yes.
I don't have a play on this game as far as betting it. I know you were talking about taking the strap off for this one.
Yes, absolutely. I'm not considering the money line for Purdue, but just them plus the points, I think. I might wait till early on Saturday. I think this might be trending where it even goes up to 7.5. So
get the hook. Get the hook when you can.
Yep.
So yeah, I'll ride with the home dog in this one too. I will not have a play on it, but see if Purdue can cover and maybe get their first win. I think Boston College is a tough team. If they can win this game, go 4-0, especially in the ACC where, depending on who you ask, Clemson is the top team in the ACC, but they are definitely a team that can be vulnerable. And if Boston College can catch them right in the right spot, Boston College has a chance to slide up the ACC and potentially hit the playoff. So, all right, well, let's look at some other games, go down the line. A game not necessarily top 25. I know a game that you have a play on here. That's Minnesota at Maryland. Minnesota 3-0, and Maryland 2-1. Maryland's obviously the big story. Their season, they're continuing to play well, with the tragedy that's kind of holding over them. They had an issue against Temple last week, though. They could not get it going on offense, did not score an offensive touchdown. Minnesota plays better defense than Temple.
Yes, this is also one of the plays that I have this week.
The line currently, what is the line currently?
2.
2, yeah, that's right. It's in favor of Minnesota, right?
No, Maryland.
Oh, excuse me, Maryland. Favorite. Maryland's home favorite, yeah.
Home favorite against Minnesota. The way the trend started last week for Maryland, I think it's in a downward spiral, kind of. Give me the Golden Gophers, even on the money line. I think it's +110.
Yeah, I mean, a 1.5-point spread, realistically, you have to start looking at the money line because 1.5 points, yes, while it's a close game, odds are most games don't end in a 1-point differential.
It'll be like a 3-pointer.
Yeah, if you had the 3, I'd probably end up taking the 3, but Minnesota should win this game outright. 4-1 against the spread last 5 games in September. They're also 5-1 last 6 against the spread on turf. So I know they play on turf at home as well, but when you're going on the road facing a team, that you play pretty regularly or don't play pretty regularly because although they are in the Big Ten, they are in cross conferences, so you only see them every couple of years. It's nice to have some familiarity, especially like the field you play on. Last 6 conference games, though, the Golden Gophers are 1-4-1 against the spread, and they are 0-3-1 against the spread in their last 4 road games. An interesting trend I saw: the Terrapins are 11-2 last 13, following a double-digit home loss.
That's an interesting trend.
Yeah, Minnesota's a tough team, but I think Maryland's still better than the loss that they. Then they surrendered last week. Just based on the trends alone, I'm going to fade you. I have no play on this, but I'll fade you. I'll take Maryland to win the game. Give me the 1.5. I think it probably won't matter, but
1.5 or 2, yeah.
Yeah,
it's pretty much irrelevant. But it could be relevant, but
it always can be relevant. The number matters. Yeah. I'd probably lean towards. 1.5's probably obviously 1.5's a 110 spread. The money line, I don't have it in front of me, but the money line's probably around -130. So
yeah, -130.
I'd pay the juice to save 1.5 points. So let's see what else we got on the docket for early Saturday games.
Another one that sounds kind of interesting is Louisville against Virginia.
Yeah, that's an interesting one too, especially, obviously Lamar Jackson's gone, and you can say that every week, and every week it's going to matter because Louisville's a shell of the team they were the last few years. UVA, a 5-point favorite at home.
Yes, Louisville, even though they came out to both teams are a 2-1 start as of the record. Virginia this year is 3-0 against the spread. Louisville is 0-3 against the spread.
Mm-hmm.
Give me Virginia to cover in that. That's not one of my picks, but I would lean towards Virginia to cover.
Yeah, I like Virginia to cover in this game as well. It opened up at 3.5, also has moved to 5. The total opened up at 51 and has moved to 54.5 for a Virginia team that's averaged so far 43.5 points at home this season.
Yeah, definitely one to keep your eyes on. Even if you're not going to bet this one should be a pretty good matchup.
Yeah, all the trends favor Virginia in this spot. 6-0-1 last 7 games against the spread after scoring more than 40 in the previous game. 5-0 against the spread last 5 September games. 7-2 against the spread versus a team with a winning record, which we have in Louisville. 5-2 against the spread last 7 home games. Bronco Mendenhall has Virginia trending upward. Louisville, like I said, they're a completely different team without Lamar Jackson, but they're 2-9 against the spread versus a team with a winning record. 1-5 against the spread last 6 road games versus a team with a home winning record. So I don't see anything really in favor of Louisville in this spot. 5 points. I don't see this game being as close as 3. So I see this game. If at worst, it could fall on like a 30-23, 30-24 spot right there. I still think Virginia covers. Again, not a play from me that I'll be betting, but maybe come Saturday, I'm starting to get intrigued by this play with UVA.
Yes. Even if you don't hit it before the kickoff, you could always look for in-play option and maybe fire off a little bet there.
Gotta love the in-play. Yeah, I think I lean UVA minus the 5 points at this point. And if you like UVA in this spot, I would suggest getting them early because I believe they're going to trend upwards.
Yeah, I see this line moving up to 6, maybe even 6.5. I don't think it goes to the full 7, but
it could be a touchdown. So if it starts moving up, I probably just lay off it. But it's definitely an intriguing game to bet. Have to check and see how the money goes because a lot of times the money will go in on UVA and the line might not move, or the money might come in on Louisville and the line might still go up.
Yeah, it just depends what books are doing as well as all the other books, what they're doing. Sometimes one book might move it significantly compared to the other one, and that's always a cause for concerns for other books.
That is true. All right, let's take a look at another game on the docket. We have let's move into the afternoon. We've got Alabama and Texas A&M, a top 25 matchup, SEC play. I don't have an official play on this because, frankly, I don't know how to bet when Alabama plays football.
Yeah, you're definitely right about this. I heard quite a bit of the money has been coming on Alabama, but the line hasn't been moving as much. It's only moved half a point at some books, if not just staying at the 26 number.
Yeah, I've seen 26. I've seen 26.5. You're right. It's kind of. I'm sure that this is going to be one of the more highly bet games of the weekend as far as money totals going in and out. 61's definitely an interesting one, too, because it's such a weird total to look. Both teams can play defense, so this total may stay under. Alabama can score 61 points by themselves if Texas A&M just can't figure them out. Mm-hmm. I don't like the total on this way either. I don't like it at all, but if I had to make a throw a dart at it, I'd play toward the under. I think both teams play good enough defense. I'm not sure which one of these teams is going to be able to, take over a game in this spot. Especially, Jimbo's a disciple of Saban, but 26 points is a lot.
26 points is a lot. If I had to make a play on this game, I'd probably take Texas A&M plus the points. I think they could maybe find a backdoor cover or.
I don't think they'll need a backdoor cover. I think they'll be in it. And when I say in it against Alabama, I still think they could lose by 20.
By about 3 touchdowns, yeah.
Yeah. So I can see a situation where, I could see 35-20. 15-point loss, something like that. I'll take Texas A&M in this spot. I'm not going to bet it, but it is a later game, so if things start going wrong in the early parts of Friday and Saturday, I may fire on this game. 26.5 is a big number. I'll take Texas A&M in that spot.
Yeah, I heard a lot of teasers going with Alabama in this one, whether it's a 6-point or a 14-point.
Don't give it away.
Yeah, I wouldn't even feel confident in that spot at even minus 20. That's still a big number to put up against the decent-looking team.
Oh, you mean, taking Alabama down, yeah. In this spot, I don't think you would tease them down to a 3-touchdown favorite. I mean, again, Alabama's such a tricky team, and I don't think this specific game, this game matters more on the numbers for Texas A&M. What Texas A&M team will show up? They're a good squad. I don't think they have a chance to compete for a victory, but,
maybe keep it
great coaches cover.
2-touchdown game or whatever.
Yeah, so Clemson, another team, 3-0, traveling to Georgia Tech, who's 1-2. Clemson has showed some signs on offense that are cause for concern, in my opinion. Initial thoughts, basically, on this game. What you think? They are. They're good on defense, but the offense definitely has some question marks, in my opinion.
Yes.
14.5 points they're giving up on the road.
Yeah, that's quite a bit of points on the road as a struggling offense to cover. Smart place to go with Georgia Tech at that spot. I mean, I would actually.
It's not 14.5. Excuse me. It's
15.
Up to 15 and 16.
Yeah, open at 16. It's 15 is what I see right now.
Yeah.
Both teams are winless against the spread. Clemson is 3-0. Georgia Tech's 1-2 on the year. I think the play is the under in this. I have a feeling both offenses are going to struggle against both defenses, and Georgia Tech might keep it close enough to not lose by 2 touchdowns, but they could always find a way to screw it up.
That is true. Clemson 8-10 ATS their last 10 games after allowing less than 100 yards rushing, which they played Georgia Southern last week. So, I mean, you put stock in that stat where you want to. Tigers' last 5 games in September are 1-4 against the spread, 0-4 last 4 games overall, which you mentioned they're 0-3 this year. Obviously, the other one is the game, playoff game last year. So, Georgia Tech 0-4 against the spread last 4 games after they get 200 yards or more rushing in their previous game, which we know they're a triple option team. 0-5 against the spread last 5 games overall. So here's a trend that's got to be bucked by somebody. 0-4 are the Tigers' last 4 games. 0-5 are the Yellow Jackets' last 5 games against the spread. Something's got to give at that point, right?
Could always be a tie.
They don't tie in college football anymore. They play overtime.
No, I mean against the spread.
Isn't the spread 15? Yeah, I guess that would be.
It's a hard one to tie.
That would be a hard one to tie, but it's possible. You're absolutely right. I'm betting this one. Give me the home dog. I'll take the 15 points. I'm hoping that it maybe gets bet up again a little bit before Saturday, and I think it will.
Yeah, I think some of the public, if not some of the smart action money, might come on.
I think sharp money's waiting, so I don't want to wait too long. I'll see if it maybe gets back up to 16. 17 points would be fantastic. I just don't think it moves that much.
No, I think it stays right around that 15-16 number. Maybe even dropping down to 14.5 if a lot of money comes on Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I think it's a 24-13 kind of game. No team really gets anything going. Clemson's depth and talent's going to overtake this. I think they will win the game. But that's a lot of points in a home dog, especially in a conference matchup for me. So I'm good with the 15 points. I'll probably wait for 16, maybe 15.5. So Ohio State 3-0, and Big Papa Bear, Urban Meyer, returns from his 3-game suspension against Tulane. I'm guessing this is just going to be a roll, but the number is 36.5.
Yeah, I actually see 37 right now, but I mean,
it's tomato.
Yeah. Same thing. Yeah, I think just him coming back, the crowd's going to be on their feet, looking at coming off that decent win against TCU.
Yeah.
They're just going to steamroll, whether they coast off towards the end or not. That might be some cause for concern, but I would take Ohio State minus the points.
Yeah, 37 is a number that really doesn't scare me, especially with this team. They just fire on all cylinders, and they had a little bit of trouble in TCU, but ultimately ended up winning the game. They didn't cover, but they ultimately ended up winning that game, and it's definitely a big number that can scare a lot of people.
Yeah, this year Ohio State at home is 2-0 against the spread. So
yeah, and Tulane's not a team that's going to give them anything. I think this team could potentially put up another 70 points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Ohio State could easily win this game by 50, maybe even 60. If their
60?
If their defense doesn't give in on their third string.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I guess so. I mean, I think the team can win by 40. I mean, the problem is laying these big numbers, you have to expect that they play defense. And you're right. It's always the test of when do they put in their backups, when do they put in their thirds.
And when do they coast off, if any.
Yeah, I mean, Tulane 4-1 against the spread against a team with a winning record. 4-1 last 6, or excuse me, 4-1-1 last 6 overall against the spread. Buckeyes, after getting 450 yards in their previous game, are 4-0 against the spread, 4-1 against the spread last 5 home games. So the trends really don't favor one team over the other. I'm not putting this in my teaser, but I could see a potential for even moving Tulane to like 51. I know you said they're going to win by 60, but 50. You give me.
I said they could win by 60, but
you give me any team in 51 points, I'll take a shot. I don't care who they are.
Including the Lions.
Oh yeah, especially the Lions. But I'm saying you give me any team in 51 points, I'll take a shot at it. Especially in college, because you're right. Like teams can score, and teams start putting in their backups. 51 points is a lot of fucking.
It is a lot of points.
I may actually look at a 14-point teaser, putting them in the 14-point teaser. Let's talk about the WVU and Kansas State. This is a game that's going to be interesting because Kansas State's another one of those. We talked about Iowa. They're another one of those giant slayers. When you come into Kansas State or you come into Manhattan, they have the ability to beat you. However, this game's in Morgantown.
Yeah, definitely interesting matchup.
Good input there, Token. Interesting.
I mean, I'm not too interested in this, but
I think Will Grier, the week off, they kind of got a bye week, and an involuntary bye week in the middle of the season thanks to Hurricane. What was the hurricane's name?
Florence.
I was going to say Katrina, but that's not right.
They compared to Katrina a lot.
Was it that big, eh?
It was wet.
The number here is what kind of worries me. 16's a big number. Kansas State has the ability to control the ball. That's where I give them the advantage in this 16-point number. I don't think they have the ability to win. Like I said, if it's a contest, we're in Manhattan. They'd be a little more trendier of an upset pick. But I do think Kansas State can cover that number on the road.
I would lean towards the other way. I think West Virginia could be the one that cover. Trend of betting action is going towards West Virginia right now. That kind of is a little worrisome in my mind. But
yeah, I mean, nothing really favors the Cats as far as trending-wise, as far as it's against the spread. They're 1-4 last 5 games in September, 1-4 last 5 games after getting 280 or more yards passing, and they're 0-4 last 4 against an ATS win. And the Mountaineers are 4-1 last 5 games in September against the spread. However, against the spread in conference, they are 0-5-1 the last 6. So I think West Virginia wins this game. I think they can win it by 2 touchdowns, but that's not 16 points. So I'll take Kansas State. I'm going to bet this game, Kansas State plus the 16. I may wait and see. Like you said, the consensus money is trending towards WVU. We could get up to 16.5, 17 points. Yeah, give me the Wildcats with the 16. I think West Virginia wins like 34-21.
I would fade you on this, but
you can go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Good talk. I don't see myself betting it, so.
All right. I know one that we're both betting. We're both taking the strap off, both laying odds on this one. That's TCU, number 17, traveling to Austin. Both teams 2-1. Texas Longhorns will be hosting the Horned Frogs in a conference game here. Number currently, help me out here, I'm
3.
3, that's right. 3 in favor of TCU. I think we're on the same side on this one.
Home dog.
Home doggy.
Yeah, I would like even Texas to win outright. I think I'm going to fire on the money line even. Line has been kind of moving towards a lot of betting action on TCU. See that continuing, and the line for the total is currently going down. It's opened at 51 in most spots, and it's currently down at 47 in quite a bit. So,
yeah, the total's moved 4 points. As far as the line movement, yeah, you're right. It opened up at 2.5. It's got all the way up to 3.5. Has now since settled back down at 3 at this point, especially. At a lot of the Vegas books, the offshore books are all over the place.
Yeah, I'm sure in some spots it's anywhere from 2 to maybe even 4.5, if not even more.
Yeah, I mean a general consensus is around 3 points right now at this point. TCU 6-1 against the spread in their last 7 games on turf, so that's something to take into account. Longhorns 4-0 against the spread last 4 after allowing more than 300 yards passing in the previous game, which they allowed more than 300, but they still crushed USC. I don't want to take too much out of that game against USC. I don't want to put Texas too much on a pedestal. Longhorns' last 13 games against the spread with a team with a winning record are 9-3-1. So I don't know if the trends favor anyone in here, but I would say a couple trends that are alarming. 1-4-1 against teams with a winning record against the spread last 6 games. 2-10 last 12 games following against the spread win. So the Horned Frogs, for me, like I said, the trends don't favor anyone in a sense of the hot trends, but the cold trends really look bad for the Horned Frogs.
Yeah.
So yeah, give me the home dog. I don't like the total either way. Both teams can score. Both teams can play defense.
I would take the over in that situation. I think both teams could have a possibility of scoring on defense and putting pressure on the other opponent to put up some points. So,
yeah, give me when we're talking about those 1-point games, give me 31-30. I'll take TCU to win, Texas to cover. Nothing wrong with a little bit on the money line.
I go 27-24, Texas winning outright, game winning field goal to end regulation.
Fair enough. All right, your boys. Oh wait, they're my boys. They're a fucking miserable piece of terrible programming right now to watch. Florida State.
Oh, that team.
Yeah. Florida State 1-2 coming in a putrid 1-2 coming in is Northern Illinois also at 1-2. Northern Illinois apparently has all Americans on the defensive line, and Florida State pretty much has Matador bullfighters on the offensive line. So this is a recipe for disaster for Florida State.
Sounds like we're in Spain.
The number is currently 10.
Screw the points. Give me Northern Illinois outright.
Outright? Wow. Oh, man, I hate you even more right now. I don't know what to do with this. FSU can't score. Their defense is good. I mean, let's look at the total here on this one. I mean, the total is 45. I don't think these teams could get that high.
Maybe in the locker room, but not on the field.
It's Florida. Recreational marijuana is still not legal. I don't think Florida State can cover 10 points. I can't trust them to cover 10 points.
I mean, I like Northern Illinois on the money line. Maybe they put up some points early and sway the in-play line, and you can make some free money, potentially. Right now it's plus 310 on the money line.
And you look at the trends for the Seminoles. I mean, this is a different regime, except for the last 3 games. But I mean, Seminoles are 6-0 against the spread versus teams with a losing record, which Northern Illinois is. 8-2 against the spread in their last 10 non-conference games. What does that mean? That means Jimbo Fisher was pretty good at Florida State. I don't know what to make of these.
Yeah, absolutely he was, but fuck it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with taking a nice sprinkle on the money line at that point.
Yeah.
I just don't think either of these teams can score. I think this game's going to be really low. I'll take the under in this game. I'm not going to bet it, but I'll take the under 45.
I think I'm going to put this on my list and take Northern Illinois money line.
Oh, he's going to take the strap off for Northern Illinois money line. All right,
yeah.
Fine.
maybe not a full unit, but
if Northern Illinois wins this game, you are not allowed on this podcast anymore.
Fair enough.
All right. I'll say Florida State 17, Northern Illinois 10.
Push right on the money.
What?
Push right on the spread and.
Well, no, it's a 10-point spread.
Yeah, I thought you said 17-7.
I said 17-10.
Oh, okay. I misheard. Misclick.
You did. You misclicked. Let's take a look at some other games going on of note. Anything jump out at you in the later games on Saturday?
This one kind of sounds a little interesting. Arizona against Oregon State. Arizona moving towards the trend of being at the flat 7 as the favorite. This one I'll probably not put any action on, but it should be a decent one to watch.
Arizona and Oregon State's a decent one to watch. What have you been smoking? Oregon State's a dog shit pile, or a pile of dog shit in the Pac-12, and Arizona's pretty much looking like they'd like to sit with Oregon State in the pile of dog shit.
Well, would you rather watch UNLV against Arkansas State?
No.
Exactly.
At those hours, at 4 o'clock, I'd rather be watching the Florida State game and pulling my hair out and wondering what the hell went wrong with my life. That's fair. I mean, make a play on that one if you want.
I mean, it's just be kind of interesting to watch two kind of.
That's the question, though. Is Oregon State is so bad, and you're only getting a touchdown at home. How bad is Arizona? I mean, they were a sexy Pac-12 pick in the beginning.
They're 1-2 right now. Well,
I'm aware of that. I mean, they've lost games they shouldn't have lost. I mean, I guess BYU is better than we give them credit for, but
yeah, that's true for sure.
I don't know. A game that I'm definitely excited to watch, which sounds weird considering I hate them so much, is Florida and Tennessee.
Fair enough. Yeah, that should be a little more interesting to watch.
Yeah, Florida and Tennessee always, when they get together, it's a good game, no matter where the state of their programs are. And that's what I think kind of makes it an interesting game. Florida, on the road's giving up 4.5 points.
Give me Florida. Give me the Gators.
The Gators on the road, eh?
Yeah.
It kind of bucks the trend of our home dogs.
Oh, yeah.
I'm taking Tennessee in this spot. They should have beat them last year in the swamp. This team in Florida is virtually the same. I mean, you throw trends, you throw record books out the window when these two programs get together. Two brand new coaches, both trying to set a tempo and both trying to set a signature win in their early careers as far as being head coaches at these programs. I think Florida can still win this game by a field goal, but that doesn't cover the number of 4.5.
Fair enough.
So, there's a couple other games on the docket. It's going to be an interesting week. A lot of good games. Oklahoma's obviously got a good game against Army. That'll be fun to watch. Mississippi State against Kentucky is another game in the SEC that I think not getting a lot of love. Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, another game where I think there's going to be a lot of points. That could be over 100 points in that spot. Auburn laying 30 to Arkansas. I think they have a hard time covering that one. Then your boys, Michigan State sneaks back into the top 10. They got a game against Indiana.
Yeah. Do we go with the trend on this with the home dogs, or do we take the Spartans?
I don't know. I didn't look at this game at all when I did show prep, so
yeah.
I'll let you have this one. What do you like? Who do you like for your boys?
Michigan State wins. They win by a touchdown, and they cover. But
so he bucks the home dog trend with his last two picks.
Yeah.
Comes in the studio, says, I love the home dogs this week, and then bucks the trend with his last two picks.
I thought that was words out of your mouth.
You were so inspiring. I
said more in pro football.
Okay. Well, it'll be definitely. What else do you think? Anything else jump out at you as far as exciting things to watch in college football?
Just the matchup, Big Ten between Wisconsin and Iowa. But besides that, this week should be an interesting statement to make for the rest of the season for most teams that are playing those high-profile games.
Yeah, most definitely. Like I said, in the beginning of the show, it's the opening of a lot of conference games for these teams. And I think it's a tempo setter as far as, the rest of the season. If you get behind on the 8 ball in one conference game, potentially even two for some of these teams who've already played conference games, It could theoretically end your season at that point.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing else left to play for would potentially be a bowl game, just getting the 6 wins and sneaking into a bowl maybe. At that point.
Gotta love sneaking into a bowl. So, well, let's wrap up the Picks and Chatter podcast for the NCAA edition, because we are going to bring in everybody's favorite Muppet, Spike. So you had, what were your 3 picks that you were laying on?
The 3 ones that I'm hammering hard on are Purdue +7 against Boston College at home, Minnesota on the road at Maryland, taking the money line, but they're a 2-point dog, and Texas home +3. I'm also laying on the money line for that one as well.
Yeah, I think it's a home dog feast or famine here for not only us. I think it's a lot of the games in college football this weekend. I'll take Georgia Tech. Give me the points against Clemson. Sits at 16 right now. Could go up from there. I'll take Missouri getting 14 points against the University of Georgia. I'll take Texas as well. I'll take the 3 points because I think TCU could still win that. I mean, they have a good shot at winning that game. I think Texas can definitely keep it close, potentially for a win. And give me the Volunteers getting 4.5 against the Gators of Florida. So you're right. It is a home dog feast or famine for both of us here this week. There may be some more picks coming through the Vegas Squares Twitter, depending on how up or down we end up being at 3:30 Eastern on a Saturday. So it'll be interesting to see.
Could be spending our profits on some other action.
If I have a good week by 3:30, or I guess it's by noon Pacific time, I may just shut it down. I did that last week and really kind of gave back a little bit, which is a monumental leak that you don't want to. Sometimes you just want to book a win at that point, especially if you can book a win by noon.
Absolutely, yeah. That way you could take a happy hour nap.
Happy hour nap. Exactly. All right, well, let's move on to the NFL. And Spike has joined us in studio. I know he was sitting here during parts of our NCAA talk just waiting on bended knee to speak about the guys who do get paid. But it looked like you were a little excited in the NCAA this weekend.
I actually made a play today.
He did, you're right.
Believe it or not, I lost. I had Tulsa +6.5 against Temple. And Temple won by 14 or something.
Yeah, something like that.
So that wasn't ideal, but it is what it is. I do want to take you to task on something though, because at one point I heard Token talking about a game, and you said, "Oh, I didn't see that one when I was doing any show prep." Stop lying to the listeners. You don't actually do show prep.
I do show prep.
We know that you don't do show prep.
Picks one out of his nose, and wherever it flicks.
But see, how do you define show prep? Because, yeah, sometimes I just I put the games on the board and go, eeny, meeny, miny, ooh, that one.
You probably do better than I have so far this season.
Well, you're 0-1 in NCAA, sir.
Don't let him lie to you. He picks his nose, and wherever that burger lands, that's what side he's taking.
Lovely.
I sit right where you are sitting currently when I do my show prep.
Great. That's what I needed to hear.
All right, let's move into the NFL, and it's definitely a great week. I think there's a lot of great games. We got a lot of guys coming back. We've got Philadelphia. Carson Wentz is coming back. Hell, we just had the Cleveland Browns open up the fridges in Cleveland.
Yeah, how do they win? I didn't actually watch the game.
I don't know if you know how football works. You score more points than that's how they win.
I understand that, but I didn't actually watch the game. I didn't know if New Jersey looked bad. Did Cleveland look good? Like, how was? Did you watch some of it, Token?
I was listening on the way up towards this shit show, and then somehow Cleveland got in the end zone with a touchdown. They went for 2, played off a miraculous 2-point conversion try, doing a double reverse option, and Baker getting the 2-point conversion catch.
Oh, it was Baker.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
nice.
Yeah, in this game, Tyrod Taylor got hurt late in the second quarter, so Baker put a drive together towards the end of the second that led towards the field goal. They were down 14-3 at that time. Early in the third, they put up another field goal, and then the Jets just fell apart. Sam Darnold had a few bad passes that led towards a few key plays not converting.
Lovely. All right. I didn't realize that Baker Mayfield had come in. Maybe if I had known that was a possibility, I wouldn't have picked Jets money line in this game. And I hit that one pretty hard today.
All right. Well, I will. I hate to have to say this, but I did show prep on the NFL, and for the love of God, I can't find where I put it. So,
well, if you want to keep looking for it, I actually need to take your producer Des to task because for our fantasy league, we've got a 4-person league, and I made a free agent acquisition after last week or after week 2's games to start week 3. And all of a sudden, I got the angriest text message I think that Des is capable of producing.
Did you take Tucker?
No, I actually took Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Oh.
Because Fitzmagic, baby. I'm going to ride him out for his last week as a starter unless something crazy happens in Tampa Bay.
I think he's starter for a while.
I would hope so. I would hope Tampa Bay has learned their lesson. But, I mean, who knows? Because it's Florida, and God knows what the fuck goes down in Florida.
Hurricanes.
But it was the angriest text I've ever seen, and I had to remind her that the sexiest player in the NFL belongs to the sexiest player in our fantasy league, which is obviously me. So clearly, that was a pick that I needed to have on my roster more than you. And she's shaking her head because either she realizes I'm right and therefore is just conceding the point, or it's the fact that she doesn't have a microphone in front of her and she's not actually able to defend herself.
He did look pretty boss at his press conference.
Yeah,
following the win.
He definitely looked like he was up there to make a statement or to defend his UFC crown. I'm not actually sure which, but he definitely was up there. Also, I see Aaron's show prep. I'm already laughing about one of the picks. Because, really, have you not learned your lesson yet? We'll get to it, and when we get to it, I'll call you out on it.
No, now I don't know which one I don't know which one you're talking about. I did take the Jets, so plus the 3.
I had a money line. We both lost.
Well, I figured, the Browns just got to beat me. They haven't won in 2 fucking years. I'll lay the 3. I'm getting 3 points. They just got to beat me at that point.
Home favorite Cleveland Browns.
I think I know which one you're talking about, Spike.
Can you believe it?
All right, well, let's dive in. Now that I've run around the studio looking for my show prep, I'll let you guys start it off with Colts and Eagles, since I need to catch my breath for a second. Eagles are laying 6.5.
Where are we? Oh,
I got to catch my breath.
Yeah, no.
I'll do your thing.
I couldn't find the game on here. Yeah, and this is a game that really hasn't moved that much. It opened at 6. It's 6.5 now. Total opened at 48.5. Now 47.5. I don't know. I like Philadelphia. As far as I know, Carson Wentz is coming back. Is that correct?
He is due to start.
So if Carson Wentz is starting, I like Philly's defense. Even though Wentz should be out of rhythm coming back from being out that long, I still think that they have the ability to beat this kind of ragtag, not 100% Indianapolis team by a lot. I'm going to take Philly minus the points here.
By a lot, eh?
Yeah.
I go the other way. I think Colts make it a kind of close game, make it a kind of interesting. Philly wins, but only by a field goal or 4 points. Believe the final score for this game would be like 31-27. Surprisingly, Colts get a weird defensive score to make it that interesting.
All right, well, before I make my pick,
oh boy,
I would like to read you a few excerpts from Captain Andrew Luck.
Yes, forgot about this.
Dearest Mother, there has been little time to relish our victory over the Washington unit as we must move out again. A convocation of Eagles in Philadelphia seeks our battle. Scouts report their captain, who may or may not be of British royalty, shall return to the field of command. Dearest Andrew. He goes on.
I love this.
Dearest Mother, I have received your care package of Blue Jay Jam and Owl Tonic. The unit continues to march to Philadelphia to face these Eagle men. The reigning victors of the greatest battle of bowls, the Spectre, Corporal Hilton appears primed for success this Sunday. And his last entry, dearest mother, the unit inches closer to the Philadelphia land day by day. General Reich, once a high-ranking officer for the Eagle Men, aiding them at the highest of bowls, has been tracking their unique trail of feathers and cheese. I estimate we arrive Sunday. Anxious. Ready. Love, Andrew. Andrew Luck is ready to play ball on Sunday.
Oh, God.
And he's ready to captain this team to a Colts cover. They will not win the game. I think you're right. Carson Wentz will be out of whack a little bit. The Eagles are a better team. That's no doubt. Even when Carson Wentz hasn't played, almost a year. Eagles win. Colts cover. I think the Eagles win by 4 points here in the spot. 27-23.
All right.
So I just wanted you guys to all, keep up with what Captain Andrew Luck is doing, leading his team into battle.
I love the Captain Andrew Luck Twitter account.
Puts a perspective of like cannonballs being blown across the field and all that.
It's my favorite Twitter account since the sits next to Kim Davis. Remember the
woman from Kentucky?
Yeah, the clerk, yeah. There was a Twitter account mocking her, which was merciless. It was hilarious.
All right, let's move on to Panthers home favorite, 3 points, taking on the Bengals, who are a sexy pick and, according to Spike, are hot garbage, but they are 2-0.
They are 2-0.
Leaders of the North.
So this is the thing, yeah, and I think it's been probably since before I moved to Vegas was the last time I was able to pick a Bengals game the correct way. So they are, until further notice, going to be my blind bet team, which for the listeners at home, we have a contest going between us for who can pick the winners. Each week we get a blind bet, meaning a game that if we lose, it doesn't hurt us, but if we get it right, we get 2 points instead of the one that we would get normally. So for my blind bet, I'm going to take Carolina minus the 3. I'm going to take the home favorite. I think they have the better defense. They can stop the Red Rocket. And I think Cam Newton finally gets his shit together and they can pull off a win.
Yes, I agree with you on that statement. I like the Panthers in the spot. I believe the Bengals are a little banged up and bruised all over, and Carolina comes out with little chips on their shoulders after last week's loss, and they come out victorious in covering.
Question, I look at the trends for these games, especially in the NFL, obviously, and I feel like the trends in the NFL you can't take with as much grain of water as you can with the NCAA. The NFL is such a parity-driven league. Everything favors Cincinnati in this spot, but Spike fades them. So now I don't know what to do. Because I was on the Panthers minus 3. I was on the Panthers minus 3. I thought when he was talking about it, he's going to take them now as his blind bet and just pray that they...
Oh, I thought he was going to take a total.
Oh, no, because even when I have picked them to win, they've lost, or they haven't covered. And when I pick them to lose, they win in a fucking landslide. So
I just thought maybe you were on the Red Rider train this week, the way you kind of prefaced that. So.
I have no idea. And I should be sticking up for my ginger brother, because there are so few of us with no souls out there that we need to be able to stick together in like a redheaded convention. But I can't do it. I can't do it this week. Luke Kuechly's the man. What am I going to do?
Yeah, there'll be a convention of one inside Bank of America Stadium, and I don't think he has enough. I don't think the Bengals have enough to get it done. Panthers are really good at home. I'll lay the 3 as well. Titans and Jaguars is off the board, I assume, due to the Mariota injury at this point. They left him on the board with Blaine Gabbert against Houston. Why is Jacksonville that much better of a team that they're just not ready to take bets at this point?
It does seem strange, doesn't it? Because I have seen, I think,
some places
online
offshore
book. They get it at like minus 6.5.
Yeah,
I would be comfortable putting Jacksonville minus 6.5, regardless of who starts for Tennessee, whether it's Gabbert or Mariota. I'm not convinced that Tennessee, whoever is starting, can put up points on Jacksonville's defense. I mean, we saw what they did against New England, and Brady is a better quarterback than Mariota or Gabbert. I know. Hot take.
Hot take.
But
Yeah, this game, Fournette's probably expected to be out. I know this one's off. If I had to make a play on it at the current line, gun to my head, I'd probably take the Titans plus the points.
Do we want to put this on our action?
it's up to you
In
guys.
Vegas, it's off. Offshore, there's a 6.5.
I can do either way. I'm comfortable with my Jacksonville pick.
What did we do with the Vikes game last week?
That was off the board completely.
That was off the board. I think offshore too.
Yeah, I didn't even see it offshore. So
up to you guys, so.
we didn't bet on it last week.
Yeah, let's leave it off.
All right.
Okay.
Let's leave it off. Let's move on. Saints Falcons. Falcons are a 3-point home favorite, and they are coming off a big win against the Panthers. Saints are coming off a potentially monumental disaster against the Brownies. But they held on for the win thanks to the kicker Zane Gonzalez, who probably watched the game tonight with a box of Girl Scout cookies, drowning his sorrows in skim milk.
Yeah, and probably a couple of like Home Depot and Lowe's job applications in front of him.
Do you know who I am?
I don't know.
Let's hope he works better with his hands than his feet.
Yeah, I think when you get games like what we saw last week out of New Orleans, same thing with New England, same thing if Green Bay has a game like that, the quarterbacks of those teams are so good that the next week we see those fuck you games where they come out and they put up video game numbers. I'm taking New Orleans plus the 3 in this one. I actually considered money line for a minute, but I am I'm still not sold completely on New Orleans defense, especially against Atlanta's offense. So I'm gonna take New Orleans plus the 3.
This one I chose as my money line bet of the week. I'm taking the Aints.
Aints. He's going with a money line dog. I had a hard time really with this game because I think the Saints are better than the last 2 games have shown, and I don't know if the Falcons. I don't know what to make of the Falcons after weeks 1 and 2. Devonta Freeman, the defense, the injuries are going to take a toll at some point. It's hard to play the side on this one, so I went with the total. I went with the over 53 in this spot.
Yeah, both teams in this spot are capable of putting up easily.
Both dome teams playing in a dome.
Points.
Yeah, both dome teams playing in a dome. 53 seems like an easy number to hit. I think, I think in this spot you could see realistically, 28-27, no problem.
Yeah, if not even the Tampa Bay and New Orleans game where it went 88 total points.
Yeah, but those are outliers. You can't look to those to be consistent, happenings. Is that a thing? Consistent happenings? I don't know.
Yeah, why not?
Stranger Things.
Trends.
Ravens Broncos, another home favorite. Ravens are giving 5 points to Denver, who Denver's played 2 games at home, been lucky to win both of those games.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I am actually kind of kicking myself because Denver was my lock of the week last week, and that minus the, what was it, 6 and a half,
6.5, something like that.
which, winning by a last-second field goal ain't going to cover the 6.5.
Before we get into the game, I want to talk about this because the Broncos game last week has created a huge buzz in the gambling world.
Yes.
Ah, yes.
FanDuel Sportsbook, I believe, was in New Jersey?
New Jersey, yes.
An erroneous line from a computer glitch gave a bettor Denver to win the game at plus 750 to 1 odds.
Yep. Yes.
When the line was technically a minus 600. I've been in some Twitter battles this week and some other conversations, let's call them. A lot of people who are, we're recreational bettors ourselves, but I side theoretically with not paying out this bet.
I don't know that I'm with you on this for a couple.
Let me preface it. Just
Yeah.
if you have been living under a rock, guy went to the window, wanted to bet the money line at minus 600. Again, that's 600 to win 100. I don't know exactly what he bet, but just to make, I want to make all the numbers inherently clear. He was betting on a known odds of minus 600 for Denver to win the game. They were on the 45-yard line, getting ready to kick what was the game-winning field goal by McManus. The computer glitched at the time, and actually there were upwards of 12 bets at this point during that computer glitch that gave these bettors 750 to 1 odds that Denver would win the game.
Yeah, most of those bets were like $5.
Most of them were small bets, but this gentleman bet $110 to win north of 82,000 at this point.
Yes.
So I want all the numbers to be clear, so I will let you then go ahead.
Right. Well, and it's important to say, too, that FanDuel came out and said that they weren't going to pay the bet, and then earlier today they reversed themselves.
Right.
And finally said that they were going to reverse the bet. One question I have for you, because I've seen bits and pieces of this, I've read a couple articles, but I cannot get a clear answer as to whether or not FanDuel had originally paid the smaller bets at the erroneous line.
They did.
Okay.
But they were a lot of online wagers or mobile wagers.
Right.
So they get automatically updated because the computer just grades a bet.
Right. Okay. So that was where I had trouble, because
I think that's why they ended up paying this bet, because this bet was done human-to-human interaction.
So this is where I think FanDuel screwed up, is that they should have just sucked it up and said, we made a mistake. In this case, it was in your favor. We want to be able to, not pay when it's in our favor. So I think for this kind of thing, they have to pay it. They just have to suck it up and take the loss. And the flip side of it is, too, like, this is a site that is spending millions upon millions of dollars in advertising and promotions and this, that, and the other thing.
The number's a drop in the bucket.
This 82,000 is a drop in the bucket, especially compared to the bad PR that they just got, especially considering they are in a brand new market where they have lots of competition. And they can't be this shitty about it.
Yes, I absolutely agree with that. At first, I believe they offered the gentleman that placed the wager $5,000 or
$500.
Yeah, $500 plus
tickets to 3 Giants games.
Yeah, and the lower bowl or something, valued at $3,000 approximately or something around there.
See, and the thing is there was so much pressure, and the other sportsbook companies nailed it right on the head, because they're all coming out of the woodwork saying, "Well, yeah, we would have paid we'd pay the bet, blah blah blah." They're not on the hook right here.
Well, I actually know of one that's happened with collegiate futures, and this one has to do with in New Jersey. Apparently, another computer glitch with the odds, and I believe it's Georgia to win the National Football Championship game or whatever, was put up at 600 to 1.
Wow!
At one point.
See, I just think
there's a few wagers on that, but of course they weren't like 1,000+ wagers.
And this guy who made the bet, when he walks away with his ticket, it's an obvious erroneous error. It's an obvious computer glitch. No chance in the world a sportsbook's going to leave itself on the hook for 750 to 1 for a team that's driving to kick a game-winning field goal, especially in the NFL. It's hard. I sit on both sides of the fence. I lean towards the fact that they should not have paid. I think the publicity in our 24-hour news cycle people would forget about this. There are still, and forgive my word, there's still degenerate gamblers lining up every Sunday to throw money at this. And yes, 82,000 is a drop in the bucket, but I feel it sets a bad precedent, and it also opens up the door for people to be able to, because these systems are run on technology.
Yep.
And I talked to a guy. He's like, their systems are so encrypted they won't get hacked. There's the best hackers out in the world who can alter systems. I feel that there's a potential chance for people to know that if they can get into these mainframes or these systems and glitch lines, they have the ability to do that.
Right. And
if I have a runner sitting at the book, okay, go bet.
And you're right, and that's sort of always been the problem.
The number is irrelevant to me.
With computer security is that it's always been reactionary.
Right.
That you can't always know what the attack is going to be until the attack actually happens. I think I have heard, and maybe I'm wrong about this, maybe this was erroneous, but the same kind of thing happened back in like the early to mid 90s in Vegas, where a line got placed the wrong way,
LSU was like a 40-point favorite one time and glitched to a pick'em at the Westgate.
Yeah, there was something. It may have been that game. It may have been something else, where the book said, all right, we're going to pay out this bet, but from here on out, you're banned.
Yeah, that's happened before, too.
And so I think for that kind of resolution, it makes more sense, and that may detract people from going for trying to hack, because if they hit a one-time score, how big does it have to be in order to not get
Be
yourself
okay with
banned?
being banned.
And to be okay with it. But the flip side of that is, if a bettor goes up to the window, like let's look at the Denver game from last week, and let's say the line was reversed. Let's say he's going up to the window. Oakland has the ball, and he goes, "I want Denver at 6-1," and they give him the ticket, and it's minus 600 instead of the plus 600. And then he goes to his chair. Denver wins the game. He goes up to cash it, and they're like, "Well, it's minus 600, so here's your whatever." And he goes, "Well, no, it was supposed to be plus 600." And they said, "Oh, no, sorry."
Well, I will rebut that, and they have had instances of that happening in the past. The line tracks and the line movement for every single game, every single action that's able to be wagered, is booked for 6 months. It's kept in a log for 6 months. So in a situation where the gentleman came up, made the wager, he does have. There are instances where the books have made that whole. That said there was a glitch in our system, because you can see a situation where 6-1 goes all the way down to like minus 1800. That's a clear glitch in the system based on what happens in that specific game.
Right.
And books have on record come out and made the wager whole with that line before the glitch.
Assuming that the bettor has noticed. I mean, I can't imagine if somebody goes up there.
They also preface it by saying, "Read your ticket before you walk away."
Right.
So I mean, if you don't notice until you sit. I mean, I bet at the window. I stand there probably longer than the average person, and I know on Sundays I've gone over to Santa Fe Station, made my bets, stood there for 5 or 6 seconds, and people behind me are grumbling, "Get the fuck out of the way! Get the fuck out of the way!" And I'm like, "I'm checking my fucking tickets." Or I may step to the side, but I'm not leaving until I know everything on that ticket is absolutely right.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've never been the victim of any of this.
Yeah.
And I'm not. And it's a fault of our world. We always just assume that someone else is covering our tracks, and things like this happen, especially in a technological world. And I have a problem with people calling out the ethics and the morals of FanDuel, calling them crooks, when you have a person who knows that this line is erroneous and ethically and morally still holds on to that bet. I'm not calling him a bad guy, but you call out the ethics and the morals of FanDuel, you got to call out the ethics and the morals of this gentleman.
Oh, sure. No, I mean, it's crooked for him to go in there and say that this is, this should be paid, this should be honored, blah, blah, blah. I guess the question that I would have is, if this sort of thing went to court, how do you think this would come out?
I think FanDuel has written expressly explicit in their terms and conditions about these situations. And all of these places, ever since they've gone to computer generated lines, betting, even registers.
Right.
They have all expressly written that same with slot machines, malfunctions, void, pay, and play.
Right, but there's got to be something that says the system of record is X. Is it the ticket? Is it the system, the log system?
I think your more question is what defines an erroneous glitch or line.
Right, yeah, and that's sort of what I was getting at.
I think this one's obvious. It's an obvious error.
But was it human error or was it computer error? I guess.
There's no way a human can alter that line. Those lines are computer generated.
Yes. Yeah, it was
especially in-play lines. In-play lines are computer generated.
Yes.
And the thing is the guy at FanDuel working the window for $10 an hour doesn't get paid enough to give a shit. The computer glitched and said they don't check.
Right. No,
I've placed plenty of bets. They just put the number in, because the thing is, it's not like the guy probably. When you walk up to a sports book, you say, "I want 18108." It's tied to a number.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You don't say, "I want Denver to win the game at 750-1," because that I think would ring a bell.
Yeah.
Because the sportsbook guy would be like, "Fuck, you talking about 750-1," and then they would notice the glitch. But when you push, like here, the Colts bet number 461, you go up to 461 in play, and they just push 461, take your money, print your ticket. Yeah. They don't get paid enough to give a shit.
And I'm surprised on the system how for that much of a wager for one, it wouldn't need authorization as well.
$100 wager at 750-1, probably, maybe $82,000 payout.
It should require authorization.
They may put new restrictions on their payouts.
Yeah.
The problem is, I think with in-play, is it goes so fast.
Yeah.
They may not need restrictions, or they may deny the bet. I don't know.
They may start capping the bets for in-play.
Yeah, they may. It may start capping. But the thing is, that when that glitches like that, I mean, I think, as I've seen in-play, I've sat at a William Hill Sportsbook, and you're darting back and forth to the counter, and things move fast in in-play.
Yes.
But all that being said, as a person, I would walk away from that with that ticket. I'd walk away from the booth with that ticket, see it. I would personally hold on to it as well. And when I say, and they say, that ain't happening, but we'll offer you this, I take the settlement. So
I would compromise a deal or something.
well, I would take the deal. 3 Giants tickets and the $500.
I would. I mean, I understand, and that's not a bad deal. And I appreciate that FanDuel actually went and offered this sort of thing to begin with, because I think them just saying, no, go fuck yourself,
yeah.
that would have been a lot worse for them than actually offering something. If I'm the guy, like, they're offering me something that's worth $3,500, my ticket's worth $8,500, I'm going to try to come somewhere in the middle.
Well, it was 82,000.
82,000, sorry, yeah. So I'm going to try to come somewhere, even, like, on the lower end, like, I'm going to say, all right.
Like, five-figure.
Yeah,
8,500, I think they pay it. I think 82,000.
82,000 is going to be a problem.
And again, the number's theoretically irrelevant. This number's just big enough for the common man to say, hey, this is a year's salary for some people.
And
or 2 years' salary for some people.
This is the kind of thing where I think it's like, look, if you don't want me to make noise about this, then I need 25,000. If you don't mind me going to the press, give me 20.
And they may do that, and they may have been willing to. We don't know the conversation that was said. All we basically know is we're not honoring your bet. Here's a compromise. This guy says, "Go fuck yourself." I'm lawyering up.
Yeah.
And I just think that regardless of the number, it sets a tough precedent, and I don't think what happened was anything shady or illegal by the book.
No.
I think it was and that was the final question. I want to move on, but the final question I had was: is there any liability from the machine manufacturer on this, where FanDuel can go recoup money on that?
I'm sure they're going to try.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's a potential for that as well.
Because what if the next time it's $8.2 million?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're not honoring that. They'll say, "I'll see you in court." They'll spend less in legal fees to win that case, because they'd win that case, no problem. They have enough outlined in the when you make a bet, you voluntarily accept their terms and conditions.
Yep.
Whether you read them or not. Mm-hmm. So it's the same with playing in a poker room. You may not read that poker room's house rules, but when you sit down to play, you voluntarily accept their house rules and regulations.
Right. Yeah, and most of them are completely ridiculous because they actually specify check and raise is allowed.
Well, that was a big thing back 20 years ago.
Well, no, it was a politeness thing more than anything.
Yeah.
It was the old time rocks.
But you notice in the rules now they don't say slow rolling is disallowed.
Yeah, I know. I get that.
So, all right, let's move on. Let's talk about, like I said, Broncos Ravens. I know that was a tangent, and if you have any comments on that, feel free to comment on our Twitter, our website. Give us an email, vegassquares.com, vegassquares@gmail.com. Let's move on. Ravens are favored 5 points over the Broncos here at home.
And this is a crazy game because it opened Baltimore minus 3.5. Now it's at 5.5. Obviously, the money's coming in pretty heavy on Baltimore. I don't like this game either way. I think, and obviously Denver left a bad taste in my mouth after last week.
That wasn't Denver. That was me. Just kidding.
I actually made a little off the Denver. I took them in played. Not quite
for
as
750 to 1.
Not quite that strong, but when they were down, I believe it was 8 or something, or something around that number. I took them in play at plus 340. So
nobody cares. Make your pick.
Yeah, no, I am going to hold my nose and take Denver plus the 5.5 on this one.
I agree with Spike. I don't think Flacco's.
So we're giving them the 5.5 now, because what I'm seeing is 5. So we'll throw out 5.5.
Yeah, I guess
Covers has the most up to date odd is 5.5. This is just a paper I grabbed 2 days ago, so that's fair enough. We'll go 5.5.
Okay. I lean towards the Broncos as well, plus 5.5. I think they could even win this game. I wouldn't feel confident in it, but I think they cover.
I'll take the Ravens. I'll take the extra hook in that spot because I had them at 5. I still like them at 5.5. I think the Broncos are going to have to prove it to me on the road that they're a good team, because I think they've been an okay team to a bad team at home, and they've gotten away with a few things. Not like illegal things, but I'm saying they've gotten away with a few balls bouncing the right way. They're a different team on the road than they are at home, and they're going all the way across the country. Ravens are a good team. They are a playoff contender, Spike. And I think they'll cover. They'll win by a touchdown to 10 points. So give me the Ravens. I'll even sell the hook at 5.5.
Fair enough.
All right, Giants Texans. Texans are laying 6 at home. This is a tough game. Two teams that you don't know what to make of them. Are the Giants better than their 0-2 start? Are the Texans better than their 0-2 start? The question I have before we make the picks is, which of the two teams right now, both sitting at 0-2, have the best chance of making the playoffs? It's okay to say neither. But
I would lean towards the Texans just because the division that they play in is a little weaker.
Yeah, and that's sort of the logic that I would use as well. Obviously,
I gotta say, with Mariota when he's healthy and Luck when he's healthy, sorry to interrupt you, and the way Jacksonville plays, I'd say they're a tougher division.
Well, I'm kind of discounting Jacksonville just the same way in the NFC East I would discount Philadelphia. Like, I think those teams are. It's the rest where the Houston and the Giants kind of fill in. Where
all right, so you have Washington versus Tennessee.
Washington versus Tennessee. I think Washington's playing harder right now. Plus, we don't know that Mariota is going to stay healthy.
All right, you have Dallas versus the Colts.
Right, and I think in that case, Dallas should be better.
You're not very definitive in this,
even though they haven't come away looking better yet. No, I just think, again, it's close. Like, I'm not super psyched about either of these teams.
I'd be willing to lay a prop bet against you guys.
Oh, God.
Mm-hmm.
Better total record for the four teams, AFC South or NFC East?
Total record.
So you have, 16 times 4 is 64 total games.
I want to make this bet.
And you have one. They each have one 0-2 team right now.
Mm-hmm.
I believe they each have two 1-1 teams
And 1 2-0.
I don't think the NFC East has a 2-0 team, do they? No, they don't. They have the Giants are 0-2 and 3 1-1 teams, and the AFC South has a 2-0 team in the Jaguars, 1-1 in the Titans, 1-1 in the Colts, and 0-2 in the. And the Colts have a win against Washington. So I'll let you. What do you think? Total record at the end of the year. Counting the first 2 weeks.
I'm not taking that because I'm not confident in the health of any of the quarterbacks in the AFC.
A $5 fucking prop bet. Calm your tits. I'm taking the AFC South. You get the NFC East.
For $5, yeah, all right. I'll take the NFC East.
I'll live between you guys.
All right. Well, all right. Cool. All right. So back to the Giants and Texans. Texans -6.
Yeah, and this is another game that's moved huge. It opened at Houston -3.5. Now it's Houston -6. I don't trust either of these teams to do anything except fumble, so I'm just going to take the under 42.
Fair enough. This one's my blind pick. Give me the Texans.
Yeah, actually, this one's my blind pick as well. I'm taking the Giants, though, +6. I'm taking the Giants +6. I think that they showed that they have the ability to play good football, and I don't trust the Texans' defense, even with all their superstars healthy right now. So if they let Blaine Gabbert beat them, I think they have a chance of letting Eli Manning beat them as well. So, all right, Raiders, Dolphins. Dolphins -3. Total 44 in this one in Miami.
Yeah, another game I'm not super psyched about. Oakland, I don't know what the hell to make of them, and apparently Miami's good because they've got a better record than New England right now.
2-0.
So, yeah, they clearly think that the AFC East goes through Miami.
2 weeks in, calm yourself.
Have you not seen that clip from like 10 years ago where Miami started 2-0 and the head coach was getting the team psyched up by saying,
no, I haven't seen that.
Oh, yeah, it's great. He's like, AFC East goes through Miami, and he's getting all pumped up, and they ended up fucking like, I think, 7-9 that year.
It's better than I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say like 5-11.
I don't know. I think this is the kind of game where not only is Oakland not good, but they're a West Coast team traveling to the east to play Miami in a temperature that's going to be like probably 170 degrees and muggy as shit. So I'm going to take Miami -3.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think Oakland, when they travel east, is pathetic. And
they're bad enough to begin with, and traveling's not going to help.
No. Yeah, give me the Dolphins in the hot, humid weather.
I struggled with this one. I wasn't really 100% sure because I think Oakland has played pretty good football for 6 quarters this year. With the exception of the second half of the Rams game, I believe Oakland has played pretty good football, despite what everyone in the news media says about them. I think they're a better team than everyone wants to talk about them. That being said, the Dolphins are playing really good football, like you guys had just alluded to. And I think the home field advantage definitely gives them a leg up. I think the Dolphins will win this game, but I will take... You know what? I don't have a money line bet, do I?
Not yet.
All right, I wanted to take the Raiders +3. I'll take Dolphins money line.
All right.
I just changed my pick 3 times before I made the actual... I had Raiders, then I had Dolphins, and then I went Raiders, and I said, all right, Dolphins money line. I had to make a money line pick, so I think the Dolphins will win this game on the money line. So, Packers and Redskins. Packers a 2.5-point road favorite, a rare road favorite for a lot of these games. A lot of the games are a lot of home faves. Aaron Rodgers, obviously, we know what he can do. They tied last week, so that's good for the game, I guess. Redskins are coming off a loss that I know that a lot of people were very confident in after their first showing. Not sure what to make of the Redskins. I think they're more talented than people are giving credit for. This is a tough one. 2.5 points.
Yeah, I'm not super psyched about this, especially with Aaron Rodgers not really practicing this week. So I'm slightly concerned, especially because, again, this is another team where I'm not completely sold on their defense. But, even with Rodgers being held out, he's still going to play. Green Bay's still going to score their points. I'm going to take them minus the 3.
Are we going with 3 or the 2.5?
I've got it at 3 on Insider and covers.
But... Yeah, I see it on 3 at covers. So.
All right, we can go with 3. I had 2.5 on this sheet, but this sheet's a couple days old. So It's funny. This sheet literally just says, please check your tickets before leaving the window.
Yep.
So, all right, we'll rock it with 3 then. That's cool. Okay. Washington's a 3-point dog.
Give me the home dog on this one. We'll go with the trend of the weekend.
Yep, I like the home dog as well in this one. And, I really wanted to sack the fuck up and make it my lock of the week.
Ooh.
Anybody want to give me 5 points for making that my lock of the week?
Absolutely not.
No? Okay, then I'm not gonna make it my lock of the week. So, Redskins, give me the Redskins +3, especially since you just gave me another 0.5 point when I said 2.5. So
yeah, that's all right.
I'll take the Redskins. I like them at 2.5. I definitely like them at 3. Bills and Vikings. Biggest spread of the week, -16.5.
Biggest spread of the year so far, if I'm not mistaken.
What's the biggest spread you've seen? I saw 26.5 when the Broncos had Manning and he was firing on all cylinders. They were 26.5-point favorites at home against Jacksonville. I think that's the biggest one I've seen.
I haven't seen quite that high. I think the highest one I've seen was like 19.5, and I believe it was somebody against the Browns.
I was going to say 19.5. I think it was Brady against the Browns.
Yeah.
So, they didn't cover that either.
I don't think so.
I think they almost lost that game, if I'm not mistaken.
Was that when they had, what's his name, the white running back that had one good year and ended up on the cover of Madden?
Peyton Hillis?
Yeah, that's the one.
I don't know if that was the same year, but 16.5. Let's go back. You said this is the biggest spread of the current NFL season total. You have it at 16.5. Let me make sure. Let me go back to covers.
Covers at 16.5.
Yeah, that's why I see as well.
And what do they have for the total?
40.5 is the current line.
That's what I have here. So okay, so it hasn't moved much. All right, 16.5 and 40.5. Spike.
Buffalo sucks. Give me the 16.5 for Minnesota. I just. There's no fucking point to even looking at Buffalo, especially with Allen as their quarterback. They're terrible.
Who puts up more points in this game? Is Minnesota's defense or Minnesota's offense? both might score more than the Bills.
Yes. Oh, okay, that was a weird question to ask. Because I thought you were going to say Minnesota's defense or Buffalo's offense.
Too bad, Spike, you can't pick up Minnesota's defense this week.
You already got him?
Yeah.
I got Kirk Cousins, though.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, I think either way we put up some big totals on that, and I think Minnesota covers.
Put this in a bet. We're gonna make this a bet. Josh Allen over under 200.5 yards passing.
200.5.
Basically 201. Yeah. Over 200 yards.
I don't know. He looked pretty good in garbage time against San Diego, putting up those yards. So I don't know that I would want to bet against him.
Does he retire by halftime?
Yeah, do they put Peterman back in?
No,
I think Allen's going to be good for at least 3 picks in the first half.
I think Peterman's selling insurance at this point. Over under?
I'll go over.
take the over as well.
Yeah, I like the over as well. All right, well, that bet wasn't as fun.
Yeah, no.
It makes you think, though, I mean.
All right, so you're laying the Vikes, too, on this one?
Yeah.
All right, well, give me the Billies.
Yeah, I knew that's the one that I saw that I was going to make fun of you for, but I don't have the energy anymore.
Biggest spread of the week. I'm sticking with the trend, even though it didn't work last
That's
week.
who I thought you were going to say, too.
Yeah, just completely fucking moronic, but all right.
Give me the Billy Simmons. All right, 49ers and Chiefs. Chiefs are the sexy team in the NFL right now. They open up as a 6.5-point favorite against the 49ers. And you got Pat Mahomes, you got Jimmy Garoppolo, you got a 56-point total. Let me check covers and make sure that's still the case.
55.5.
Yeah, which is insane, especially considering it opened at 52.5, and the lines opened at Kansas City minus 4.5. So both of these have moved quite a bit. And this is a game of a team that is a proven high-powered offense against a team that should have at least a competent offense behind Jimmy Garoppolo. That said, I think that there is now enough tape on Mahomes that San Francisco actually puts up enough of a fight not to win, but I'm going to take the Niners plus the 6.5.
This reminds me of the Monday night game last week, just higher scoring between the Bears and Seahawks.
How so?
I mean, just two teams that know decent amount about kind of younger teams, in my mind, besides Russell Wilson. Give me the Chiefs on this. I think they put up enough to cover. I think they win by a touchdown.
Touchdown would do it. I'm going to take the 49ers. I'm rolling with Spike here. 49ers wear red. Spike's hair is red. Chiefs wear red too, but I don't like them.
What the fuck?
I don't know. I really don't have an analysis on this game. I don't know. I mean, the hype is so high. In the NFL, I only said that because I have no analysis. In the NFL, the hype gets so high and so low week to week. The Chargers. The Chiefs are a good team. The 49ers are a good team. I think both teams can beat. I think both teams can win this game. I think the Chiefs really. I think the Chiefs being at home gives them the edge, but not for a full touchdown. So I'll take the 49ers as well.
Yeah. I mean, if we're looking so obscure at facts in order to try to pick a winner of this, the girl that everybody had a crush on in 8th grade in my school is married to a guy who works in the Chiefs front office now. But even still, I'm fading the Chiefs. I want the Niners in this one.
You're just jealous, so now you're fading the Chiefs.
Exactly.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, she's still fucking hot, too.
Is your wife listening?
I don't know. Probably not.
All right. We got Chargers and Rams. And why can I not find it on covers here?
It's directly underneath the San Francisco game.
Not for me. I got Cincinnati and Carolina.
Directly underneath, too.
Yeah.
All right. What's the line?
7.
All right. It's 7 here, too, so I could have just fucking said it.
Yeah, and this line hasn't moved at all. The total opened at 48.5. Now it's at 48.
Yeah, so not much movement.
Yeah, so this is a game that seems pretty steady. I think.
Why the fuck is it not on my screen?
I have no idea.
So weird. Anyways, okay, so
errors.
Yeah, it must be a computer glitch. All right, Rams minus 7.
Yeah, Rams minus 7. I like Los Angeles in this game.
Good call, you dick. That's like last week. I put out a tweet for Auburn and LSU. I said the Tigers are going to win easily.
Yeah. I don't know. San Diego is probably better than I give them credit for, but I wasn't super impressed with their win against Buffalo last week, especially because they really let their foot off the gas in the third quarter. So I'm going to take the Rams minus the 7 in this one.
This is a quote-unquote home game for both teams. Give me the home dog. Give me the Chargers plus 7.
I love how he prefaced that.
No, I think they do enough to keep it somewhat marginally close and maybe sneak in a odd play to backdoor cover or something.
All right.
That's been his favorite words of the show, backdoor cover. I feel like he said that under 95 times.
That or the hook.
No, I think it's been backdoor cover. I look at this, and for the last 2 years, actually for the last probably 3 or 4 years, the Chargers are my Bengals. The Chargers are to me what the Bengals are to you, Spike. I cannot get them right.
Yeah.
Ever.
They're tough, and that's the thing. Like, Phillip Rivers...
When they're supposed to play well, they shit the bed.
Right. And Rivers never looks impressive, but somehow he put up 4,500 yards last year. Like, I don't get this team at all.
And the thing is, on paper, he's a Hall of Famer, but on the field, I don't think he is either.
No, and apparently he has never sworn in his life. He has never used a swear word, which is just baffling to me that somebody in this league could go through that, get hit by a fucking linebacker, and not go, God damn it.
Yeah, you've already scored twice.
Exactly.
No, he's probably like, oh, nice hit, guy. Nice hit. He's all Canadian about it.
Yeah. Great competition, sir. You really beat the bejesus out of me.
Yeah, here's the Joey Dolan.
All right, so here's the way it goes for me.
Phooey.
I like the Chargers +7, so I will fade them.
Nice.
Give me the Rams and the touchdown. I'll lay the touchdown. Bears-Cardinals. Bears are a 6-point road favorite. Let me check and see if that's even on covers at this point.
5.5.
Yeah, 5.5. So 5.5-point road favorite. The number is 38 at this point.
Ridiculous. It's such a juicy, small number on the total. I'm very, very tempted to go over on that, just because I think, any kind of crazy bounce, a pick six, something could happen in this game to drive that total over. I already have a total bet. I don't have a money line bet yet.
You can still make more bets, though.
I get that. I'm just I need a money line bet before I need another total bet. So maybe I'll just take Chicago money line. Just take the really safe pussy route in this one and kind of get on with my life. Because for as good as Chicago looked, especially this past week against Seattle, I'm still not sold on Trubisky. The defense is good, but I think they still have weak spots. So, I don't know. Arizona, who the fuck knows? Maybe this is like a game like what we saw tonight in Cleveland with T-Mobile getting hurt. Baker Mayfield comes in, wins the game. Maybe Sam Bradford gets hurt because he's overdue for it at this point in the season.
Yeah.
Maybe Rosen comes in.
He's got the over on how many games I thought he would play.
Yeah, and maybe Rosen comes in and he puts up 70 points on his own. So who knows? But I'll take Chicago money line and just be done with it.
Give me the Bears. I think they are better than even the spread indicates. I think they win by about a touchdown.
Yeah, originally when I picked this game, I liked the total on this one, and I don't have a lock. So for 38 points, I will take the under and make it my lock of the week.
Under 38 is a lock. All right.
Yeah, I think 24-10 Chicago. All right, we got Dallas and Seattle, and I do have that one on my cover sheet here, and it is Seattle -1.5. Total 41. Oops, kicked the wrong button.
Yeah, and this is another game that's moved, but it's moved away from the favorite, which I think that's the first time we've seen that this week.
Seattle opened at 3. It's already gone down. Yeah.
Seattle opened at 3, down to 1.5. Total opened at 44.5, down to 41.5.
I think that's just prisoner of the moment right now because nobody gave the Bears the kind of credit that they probably do deserve, and they saw Seattle lose to the Bears.
Yeah.
That's why that line jumped, 1.5 so quickly.
Yeah, I think you're right. And, when you get a dog that's, only down by 1.5, it's, for me, it just seems to make more sense to bet the money line, which is what I'm going to do here, Dallas money line.
Mm.
This one, I originally liked Dallas plus the 1.5. I just switched it. I went over the 41.5 that it's currently at. I think both these two defenses are just not strong enough to hold the offenses of both teams.
Oh, I don't know if I agree with that, but that's your pick, so I will not shred it. Do I have a money line, and can we pick multiple?
You do have a money line, and you can pick multiple, yeah.
All right. Seahawks money line for no other reason than they are the home team, and I will take their defensive line and their quarterback over Dallas's. So, all right. Well, this leads us to the rivalry game of the Vegas Squares podcast. We have the New England Patriots.
Oh boy,
who are mine and Spike's team, and we have the Detroit Lions, who are so generously being given 6.5 to 7 points. Covers has 7, so we'll go with 7. They're being given 7 points by Bill Belichick, handed down to his disciple Matt Patricia and the Lions. on Sunday night, I know for a fact that it is your birthday coming up, and you will be in Detroit during this.
I will not be in Detroit during the game, but I'll be there shortly after.
Oh, after. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm leaving the night of the game, but...
Oh, you'll be in the air when this game goes on.
No, I'll be leaving shortly after the game is done.
Red Eye?
Yep.
Yikes. Red Eye from Vegas. All right, well, since you are the home team, you get to choose the toss, and I will let you pick first.
Oh, actually, I'm not picking a side on this one.
So, okay, go. I was going to say, because the page on covers that I have has it still at 6.5, not 7.
Either
How
at
weird is
6.5.
this? Computer glitch, man.
Yeah, it's
Theme of the
good.
show, computer glitch.
Either at 6.5 or 7. I don't.
Maybe
like
just because I haven't
either
refreshed.
of the
Let's
spreads.
see. Let's see. Nope, still 7.
Oh,
But do you have offshore? Do you have? Are
I'm looking at.
you looking at consensus Vegas
Yeah.
odds?
I believe consensus. Yeah, I have the same thing as him.
Oh, we're looking at two completely different pages.
Yeah, but they're both on covers. That's why
That's so
I
wild.
think it's
Yeah.
strange.
Well, these are live lines from the Westgate. These were updated at. These were
Yes.
updated at 1:19 a.m., which is exactly what it is on the East Coast.
So it's got to be that I have a consensus 6.5, and you have the Westgate.
The
7.
consensus is 6.5 on covers. I'm specifically
Yeah.
looking at the Westgate's live line.
Yeah.
Okay. So which are we doing? 6.5 or 7?
I don't care.
Yeah, Token's taking the totals. So
We'll take 6.5. That's fine.
all right.
Okay. Yeah, the current total I see right now is 53.5. I believe Detroit doesn't show up and they don't score anything. I don't think New England's got enough to cover the over by themselves. I like the under.
That actually, I mean, I don't mind the logic in that, and if I were playing a total on this one, I would agree with you. I think the under 53.5 is safe, but I think this is a game where not only is New England in total fuck you mode after that loss in Jacksonville last week, but we haven't seen anything out of Detroit that makes me think that they can stop New England at all. So I'm taking New England minus 6.5. That's my lock of the week right there.
And Belichick against his former defensive coordinator.
Oh yeah, Matt Patricia, and I mean it sounds like Matt Patricia's already lost the locker room too, so that's not good news for a team.
Yeah, I thought the Lions looked a lot better in San Francisco. They still obviously went down. They are 0-2. It's a tough one. I don't really. I went with the Lions just for a simple fact that I think that I don't know what I think. This was a tough one.
It can go either way.
It could go either way. We went with the 6.5. I'd obviously feel more comfortable with 7 because I feel like a 27-20 game right here is highly possible. I don't see a blowout, which is what I think a lot of people see, which the line is indicating it's been bet up a lot in this game. But it's tough. I'll take the home dog because that's the theme of the show. And I'll see that 75% of the money has been going in on New England. And I will fade the public, take the 6.5, and not really feel great about it. Steelers and Buccaneers. Fitzmagic on prime time.
And
I got way excited to say that.
yeah,
But he's a dog. He's a home dog.
he's a home dog. I mean, it's only the 1.5, and again, this is a situation where a dog at a 1.5 to me just screams take the money line. So that's what I'm doing. Tampa money line, especially given that Pittsburgh and Antonio Brown seem to be on completely opposite pages. He's very unhappy with the team. And Le'Veon Bell is not only still nowhere to be found, he's actually been removed from the official team page from the roster.
Oh, they found him. He's jet skiing in Miami.
Was that?
They said they found him. He was jet skiing in Miami.
Oh, there you go.
Has Mike Tomlin lost the locker room in Pittsburgh?
I assume so. I mean, it's especially tough for a team that has underachieved for a number of years and they're starting the season with no wins. And they're, if not their best, then their top 3 player is nowhere to be found because the front office can't get their shit together and give them a contract. So I think that players are starting to revolt, and they're not going to feel comfortable in that locker room, especially until they win a game. I just don't think they can do it against Fitzmagic.
I currently don't have a lock, right?
That is correct.
All right, this one I believe I put down as my lock, so I'm just going to go with it. Lock the Fitzmagic on this one. Let's go with the home dog.
Yeah, I think, like I said, the theme of the show so far has been home dogs. 1.5 point You're correct, Spike. That just screams take the money line, especially Fitzmagic on prime time. I will preface this pick with a caveat, and I don't know which way to go, but I like Tampa at this number. But I think this line will close more towards pick. And I think Pittsburgh is talented, and they've got to get their shit together. And I think Mike Tomlin has spent this entire week doing exactly that, trying to get Pittsburgh's shit together. So at this number, I still like Tampa to win a game, only because I'm rolling on the Fitzmagic train, and I don't want to see. If they lose to Pittsburgh, I don't want to see this. Oh, well, they lost. Now Jameis is back. What do we? I don't want the controversy. I want Tampa Bay to keep rolling. And so I want to see Tampa, for my own personal interest, win this game. It scares me that Tampa's going to be bet up so far towards pick'em that it makes Pittsburgh so juicy to take at a pick, because they are the better team talent-wise, in my opinion.
For sure, yeah.
So, all that being said, I'm basically giving a letter to the people. If you like Pittsburgh, wait. They're going to be bet down. If you like Tampa, jump on it now. I like Tampa to win this game purely for fandom, and I want to see the Fitzmagic train keep rolling. So I am taking the Bucks. I'm just leaving everyone who's listening with a caveat. If you like Pittsburgh, wait. This line will be bet down.
Yes, I think this line will close pretty much what you said as pick 'em.
Yeah. So, all right, NFL picks are on the record. This is being recorded, so, gentlemen, you cannot take it back. Spike's got him on his computer, which I'm sure on Sunday he'll be hitting the delete button on his. Yeah, totally had.
It glitched.
Totally computer glitch.
the
I had
thing is?
Detroit. What are you talking about?
I actually scored him wrong last week. He's actually at 3 points, not 4 where he should be.
Damn it! I thought I had 4, so now I have 3.
Yeah.
Computer glitch.
Ship it
I
out
want to
of the
be
league.
paid. Computer glitch.
So Token's at 5. Aaron, you're at 3. I'm at -1 right now.
Negative. Oh, that's right. You got Chicago, right?
Yeah.
All right.
So,
Well,
yeah, that was tough. I
Oh,
think,
there.
that's a computer glitch that went in the house's favor. So can I sue?
right. Yeah, if you want to, go ahead.
Yeah. Give me some Giants tickets.
I can even tell you where I got it wrong. I gave you 2 points for Tampa Bay's win because I had it as a blind bet, and I gave it to you as a blind bet.
Oh, well, you're too kind.
I know.
Did you get your blind bet right?
Yeah.
What'd you have?
Last week I had Tampa Bay money line.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, those are the picks in the books. We had our NCAA with Token Tony and myself. We had the NFL with the complete roundtable of the Vegas Squares podcast. We appreciate you tuning in. We want to thank our sponsors, 12 Ounce Sports Radio, for putting us on every, let me get this right, Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. You'll hear this podcast specifically right before the college football games. We'll be on Sunday morning as well, right before the NFL games, so you can get your last-second picks from us before you take your money to the window and light it on fire. We are also on Monday nights as well at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We appreciate 12 Ounce Sports for putting us on, and we appreciate you for listening to us every week. We also want to thank VGK Pop Sockets for their continued support, and we want to thank Chai Poker, all the guys down there at Chai Poker, for their continued support as well. We got to have those guys over and let them be a guest celebrity picker sometimes, the guys at Chai Poker. That'd be fun to do.
Yeah, absolutely,
as well. Well, all that being said, we appreciate you tuning in and listening, and hopefully you have a profitable and successful weekend. And if you happen to win $82,000 on a computer glitch, fight it tooth and nail. We are out. Appreciate it.